Hello, 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 my amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of the show with no name on Vaughn Radio, and we are in the holiday spirit. I'm dreaming of a Vaughn Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. 3, 4, you! I'm dreaming of a Vaughn Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Come on, rockers! We are in the holiday spirit here on the show with no name. This is the final stretch. La recta final. I can't believe it. Just a few days away from that magical, magical time of year, Christmas. And we're celebrating right up until this Friday, amigos. So now I think you know what time it is. It's time for liftoff. Let's go.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Count down with me, amigos. I need it. I need all your help today.
1.
I'm a bit sleepy.
0.
I know.
Ignition.
I've already drunk 3 cups of coffee. Any more would be absurd. But some days you just, So I need a little help from my friends, as the song goes. Help me.
Get ready. Hold on to your hat.
Here we go.
Your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
The show with no. It's show with no name.
Where?
On Vaughn Radio.
All right, amigos, here we go.
Let's go.
All right. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, show with no namers. If you didn't hear the idiomatic expression I used before, I said we're in the final stretch. In the home stretch. I know you know the word stretch is estirarse, but also a stretch is un tramo, a stretch of land. Hey, we're already playing with some double troubles here on the show. Playing with words, having fun. Something we love to do here on the show with no name and on Vaughn Radio in general. Folks, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you aboard today, my show with no namers, as we are rocking and rolling right into the holiday season. Woo! Lots to do, as we say in English. So much to do, so little time. That's life. Another one we say is a day late, a buck short. ¿Lo pillas? A day late, a buck short. Llego un día tarde y me falta €1, un duro. Yeah, that's life. It means you can never get on top. And we know the Christmas season is defined for its hustle and bustle, and also for our Christmas intensives.
I'm dreaming of a Vaughn Christmas. This is the way I love to learn. This is exciting.
exciting, and we keep fighting. Sing it. To make English awesome. Wow. Let's go.
Menos mal que nos dedicamos a la enseñanza
Yeah,
y
really.
no al canto. Aprovecha nuestras super ofertas durante este holiday season. Descubre nuestros cursos intensivos de Navidad y podrás tener la flexibilidad total. Inglés emocionante a tu medida con Vaughan. Más información en grupovaughan.com o llámanos al 911-385831 y síguenos en las redes.
Tis the season to learn English. La 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 la.
All right, amigos, it's time for our pop quiz. Do it. Here we go. Pop quiz. I can't hear you. Do it again. Do it again. Pop quiz. One more time. One more time. Remix. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. That's right, amigos. It is our pop quiz only on the show with no name. And before, as we're still in the Christmas spirit, I want to remind you guys that one of your classmates recorded one of the most beautiful Christmas carols I've ever heard. See if you recognize her lovely voice.
Joy to the world, for radiance come to help across the earth. Not only teaching English, but tons of awesome things. Thank you, Rachel, for this gift. It's a special universe full of people who always do their best.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of people who always do their best, Chris Valrol. That was absolutely lovely. She sent it to us to celebrate our 20th anniversary. I can't believe it, folks. We have been on the air for 20 years. It's no small feat. Do you know this expression? It's no small feat means, I think the best translation would be, no es moco de pavo, que no es poca cosa, right? And a feat es una hazaña, un logro. So it's no, y no se dice it's not a small feat, aunque eso es correcto en inglés, es frase hecha. It's no small feat. O sea, que no es poca cosa. It's nothing to sneeze at. That's another way to say it. Estornudar. Achoo. It's nothing to sneeze at. Es algo bastante serio. All right, well, amigos, we are going to take a look at one word today. And we're going to do this today as a tribute to one of my great, great friends, one of my mentors, I should say, who used to work here with us at Vaughan. Now he's doing some amazing projects. I'm so proud of him. And I know his whole family. He's a great, great friend. I think you guys all know him, and you all have nothing but love for him. I'm talking about the one and only Richard Brown. Richard Brown. I miss him. He wasn't just my boss. And he didn't just vouch for me, poner la mano en el fuego. When Richard said, I want to hire this guy, and Richard Brown said, yeah, I want him on my team. He's great idea. We should hire him. So he fought for me, and I'll never forget that. So Richard Brown, one of my great amigos. I haven't seen him. In fact, Richard, I know you're not listening, but I love you, buddy. and I hope to see you really, really soon. And so I decided to do this one as a tribute to my buddy, Richard Brown. And he's got a book. It's available at our Von Tienda. It's called Word Maps. Are you guys familiar with it? He used to have a radio show, and the idea kind of came from that. It's really cool because I actually saw the idea happen. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I used to see him in the studio, and he would literally have a piece of paper where he brainstormed. You know, the typical thing where you draw up in the you put a word in the center. So like the word cap or top or whatever. And then you go to town. And to go to town means ir a lo loco, a lo bestia. So what he would do in this radio show, and now a book, as I said, the book came organically from the radio show. And he takes very common verbs, 50 of them, 50 very common words in English, and you hear how they can be verbs, nouns, adjectives. It's over 20 hours of audio with the one and only Richard Brown. You can get it. I think it's really a wonderful Christmas gift for those of you who love the show with no name. Because what do we do here? What do we do here on the show with words? We play with them. We don't just say, okay, buena palabra, boss, jefe, qué bonito. Okay, give yourself a round of applause. You learn the word jefe, boss. But what if we go a step further and we say, okay, pero ¿cómo sería el verbo? No, ser jefe, mandar, ¿no? ¿Qué es lo que hace un jefe? Well, to boss somebody around. ¿Ves? Añadiendo el around a la palabra que ya sabíamos, ya tenemos el verbo. And what about if we want to say, pues, ella es muy mandona? Then we just add a Y to our original root, la raíz. And you've got the word bossy. So Richard Brown is an expert at doing this. In fact, Richard Brown not only created word maps, but he also created all our coleccionables, tons of content for all our English courses. I mean, anything that's come out of Vaughn in the last 15 years really has come through Richard Brown and his team. You know, anytime I talk about somebody, I talk about the people behind them, because nobody does anything all by themselves. We all get by with a little help from our friends, ¿no? Como dije al principio del programa. I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. All right, amigos. So here's what I need from you guys. I'm gonna take one of the words from Word Maps. So if you have the book, you've already got an edge. Hey, espera. Ahí hay una palabra que tiene varios significados. Edge es borde, pero yo no acabo de decir borde. En este caso dije una ventaja en cuanto a la competición. So again, playing with words, nobody does it like Richard Brown. He's the master. And the audio is excellent. I have the audio from all our Vaughn books here in my hard drive. That's how I play it for you guys a lot of times in our pop quiz. And man, Richard Brown, I mean, he's like, well, today we're going to look at it. It is fascinating. I'm serious. Anybody who loves playing with words, anybody who considers themselves a wordsmith, alguien que le encanta la palabra, right? A blacksmith es un herrero. A locksmith es cerrajero. So a wordsmith is alguien que domina la palabra. And there's nobody I know who does that better than Richard Brown. So check it out, Word Maps. It's under $15, $14.95. You can pick it up at vaughntienda.com. And again, in each chapter, each word, you're going to see expressions that have to do with the word. You'll see nouns, adjectives, synonyms, verbs, adverbs. I mean, it is awesome. And Richard Brown, like me, this is one thing we have in common. Many things. We love beer. Well, I guess that's not hard. But another thing we have in common is we love looking for those juicy words. You know, the ones I tell you guys, today's double trouble comes from a documentary I was watching. So what does that mean? That means you are always on our mind. It's true. When I hear an idiomatic expression or a phrasal verb or something that stands out, I'm like, I'm going to bring that one to my students. See if they know these totally native expressions. And this book, Word Maps, comes with over 16 hours of audio. Are you serious? Guys, 16 hours of audio. That's an English course in mastery of vocabulary. And it's under $15. And you can do it as many times as you want. I think it's a great gift to any of our show with no namers. So a shout out to my great friend, Richard Brown, genius. Nothing short of a genius. I'm being honest here. You guys know me. I'm not one to kill people with flattery. I have no reason to. I'm not trying to impress anybody in life in general. Well, I guess my daughter, and she's tough, man. Como decimos en inglés, tough crowd. Un público difícil. All right, well, let's take a look at our pop quiz coming from Word Maps. I highly recommend everything from the Von Tienda. But this, knowing you guys, knowing the way you think, the way you like to play with words like I do, what we do every day here on the show with no name. This book is that. It's called Word Maps, Tu Mapa Mental hacia el Inglés, and it is by the one and only Richard Brown. All right, here we go with your challenges. Now, all of these sentences, all of these translations should have one word in common if I took them from the same chapter, which I did. So here we go. The first one. Ella va a hacer un fiestón para su cumple número 40. O su cumpleaños de 40. I don't know the best way to say that in Spain. See, these are those little native things. You either know how to say it or not. So I said para su cumplo número 40, no usando el ordinal. El trigésimo, cuadrésimo. Me meto en un lío ahí. Oh, man, that's some dangerous territory over there. In English, ordinal numbers are pretty easy. The biggest problem I find is a lot of people like to overuse the TH, right? I had somebody tell me 20 tooth. Y le dije, sería 20 teeth. Claro, 20 tooth es 22nd. El número 22 es 22nd. De hecho, es muy importante. Vamos a repasar el mes rapidísimo. Por favor, repítelo conmigo. The first, el primero de mes. Y ya vamos con second. No sé, es una C en inglés, no G. Second, third, fourth, fifth, not fifth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So far, it's pretty easy, right? Hang on. 15th, 16th, 17th. Muy importante este 18th, 19th. ¿Y el 20? ¿Nuestro aniversario? Es nuestro aniversario. El 7 de septiembre. I love Mecano. I got to say that. So that's 20th. like 20th Century Fox. No es 20. Hay una E suavecita. 20th. Y eso en todos los múltiples de 10. 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, 80th, 90th, 100th. Now, the ones that I said are a bit confusing are the first, second, and third. No la primera vez que lo vemos, porque ahí es first, second, third, fourth. Perfecto. Es cuando acompañan algo, como el 22, el 43. Just remember this. The 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd. Eso nunca cambia. O sea, first, second, and third acompaña todos los múltiples de 10, right? 21st, 32nd, right? 43rd, el 43, 43rd, and you write it accordingly. O sea que los únicos que tienen TH son los que no son 1, 2 o 3. Fácil esta regla. So if it's got a TH, it's after 3. 1, 2, and 3 is first, que es ST, 1 ST. Second, que es 2 ND, que es lo que os dije antes, que a veces veo que la gente pone 1 con TH, porque dice, bueno, todo es TH. No, 1, 2, 3 no. So it's 1 ST first, second, 2 ND, and third, 3 RD. Y eso también si lo multiplicamos por 30, o 40, o 50. So 31st ST, 32nd, or 33rd. All right, those are ordinal numbers, really, in a nutshell, en resumidas cuentas. All right, so that's number 1. Ella va a hacer un fiestón para su cumple número 40. Number 2, and again, since this is a tribute to word maps and my buddy Richard Brown, all of these sentences will have the same word in them. No, one word in common, all right? The second one, siempre critica todo lo que hace su hermana. Siempre critica todo lo que hace su hermana. That is number 2. It's got to have a word in common with number 1 and number 3. Number 3, no consigo apretarlo. Inténtalo. Ok, inténtalo tú. O sea, le estás diciendo a la otra persona ahí, inténtalo tú. So, no consigo apretarlo. Apretar. How do we say that one? So this is tough today because you've got some tough translations to start out with. But at the same time, you're limited because you have to use the same word in every one. I mean, it's like a double trouble, but not really. Today's pop quiz, sponsored by Word Maps. Again, I highly recommend it. So much vocabulary in there, so many hours of audio. So your pop quiz, let me repeat all 3 of them again, and then we've got to take a quick commercial break over here. The first one, ella va a hacer un fiestón para su cumple número 40. Y quiero que usáis 40 como ordinal, por eso hemos repasado los ordinales. The second one, siempre critica todo lo que hace su hermana. Siempre critica todo lo que hace su hermana. And the last one, no consigo apretarlo. Inténtalo tú. Folks, that's your pop quiz. I'll give you some time to think about it, but not too much time. You know me, I like to take a quick commercial break. Want to keep you guys nice and warm here on this winter day as the holiday season approaches. We're learning, we're laughing, we're playing, and having fun here on the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. When we come back, We'll take a look at the pop quiz. We'll also take a look at today's Say What soundbite. We've got homophones, movies, music, double trouble, birthdays. Man, we've got tons to do. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's show with no name. This Friday is our final show of the year, so it's gonna be... casi lo digo, ¿eh? Un fiestón. Hey, man, I almost let the cat out of the bag there. Vaya fiestón. We're going to have it this Friday. Also, we're going to hear from you guys in Question of the Week. Also, tomorrow, we have the last Learn with Lara of 2023. And thank you to all of you for your feedback. I'm seeing that you guys are really loving the section. I have gotten so many comments, so many emails, private messages, people telling me, Alberto, not only is it adorable, it's just heartwarming to hear you and your daughter together, bonding, creando recuerdos, vínculos, as we say. But also, you're giving me ideas on how to get my kid to start speaking English. I'm like, well, Paco, that's the idea. So when he told me that, or she, as I said, I've gotten that comment a few times now. I'm like, that's what I wanted. I wanted you guys, to see how friggin' cute my daughter is, because she is. But also, I want to give you guys ideas. I want to show you that you don't have to be a native English speaker and just ask questions. Get your kid talking. The best way I get Lara talking is say the opposite of what it is. So, for example, I'll say, oh, look, those lights are blue. Now, if they really are blue, she'll just say, "Oh yeah, that's right, Dad. They're blue." Mm-hmm. But if I say, "Lara, those lights are pink and they're blue," it's not only that I get a reaction that she is so quick to say, "Wait, no, 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 no. You are blind." I mean, I think all that thing, you're blind, Dad. So sometimes to get a reaction from them, you should say things that are a little bit wrong and let them correct you. And you want to get a kid's attention, have them correcting you. My daughter loves to play the role of the teacher. And if you notice in the Learn with Lara section, a lot of times I make her believe that she is the teacher, that she's teaching me, that I don't know what I'm talking about. And that is where she really gets hooked. And that's when I get her talking. And once they're talking, their mind is moving, everything's moving. And kids are, I mean, really, they are just, I hate to be cliche, they're sponges. They get it all. And even if you think they're not getting it, trust me, they're getting it. And speaking of getting it, I hope you guys can get today's Say What soundbite. Say what? What? Say what soundbite? Show with no name. Say what soundbites? Yeah. All right, folks. Funny, I was just talking about my daughter. This one reminds me of my daughter. One of my favorite activities that I do with my daughter, physical activities, and one of her favorites is wrestling. La lucha libre, pressing catch, you say? Wrestling. And as you guys know, we all have our wrestling names in my house. I'll see if I'll put you to the test. See how well you know me and my stories about my family. I kind of switch between Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. Two American heroes. My daughter now is Jimmy Superfly Snuka because she flies through the air. So now she's Superfly Snuka. Again, depends on the day. I could be Randy Macho Man Savage. Oh, yeah. Hulkamaniacs. Or I could be Hulk Hogan. And my wife is Jake the Snake. So, and I used to think it was weird that my daughter wanted to wrestle before we went to bed. I'm like, sweetheart, it's 10 p.m. It's 10 p.m. You want to wrestle before you go to bed? Shouldn't we be like reading a book? But then I read somewhere that kids need that like last bit of stimulation. And that's a great way for them to go to sleep. So what we do now is we turn her bedroom into WrestleMania. The lights go out, the crowd roars, and WrestleMania kicks off. And you know what we're doing the whole time we're wrestling? We're talking. So another great way to stimulate your kids, wrestle with them. My daughter, I remember like the first, when she was like even 2 years old, when she was really young, she would come up, I would be sitting on the sofa and it would be like, bedtime. And she would come up and be like, Dad, you want to wrestle? And I was like, oh my God. But then I thought, well, where did she get it from? Me. Because, kids like to read, they like to do a lot of stuff, but they like to play around. They like to jump, they like to roll around, do somersaults. How do you say somersault in Spanish? Voy a mirar esa. Somersault. Siempre me lío con estas cosas. Cartwheels. So we've got somersault is vuelta carnera, voltereta, salto mortal, vuelta de campana. She loves doing those. And she knows the vocabulary as well. Somersaults. She likes cartwheels, even though she can't do them yet. A cartwheel. A ver, ¿cómo lo llamáis aquí? A cartwheel. Pirueta de lado. Pirueta lateral. Voltereta lateral. So she loves doing these tumbles and rolls. A tumble or a roll is cuando pones la cabeza, agachas. A ver, how you say tumble. What you do when you're doing gymnastics. Dar una voltereta, rodar. But to tumble is more like when you tuck your head. Buen vocabulario que estamos viendo. And to tuck es meter la cabeza. All right, let's listen to today's Say What soundbite. Obviously, it has something to do with wrestling. We'll see if you guys can get it. I'm going to play it for you 4 times. Good luck. This is the first time.
Over the years, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. A lot of great years. Please write to him. Let's go to the graphic. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address.
All right, there you go, my amigos. There you go. So I just said something about Hulk Hogan. I think this is going to be an easy one because the person is really taking their time when they speak and they're trying, it's not the typical, we were 14 years old, we went up. So I expect a lot of participation from all of you guys, whether you're tuned in live right now or whether you're listening via podcast. And if you don't want to write it down, don't. But you know what you should do? At least be able to give aloud 2 or 3 sentences explaining what you heard. I heard a guy who seems like he's sad because pa. So even if you don't write it down, if you write it down, great. But make sure the most important part is saying it aloud. Just think of my daughter. She hasn't written anything down yet in her life. Well, her name and numbers and a couple, she's learning, yes. But it's all spoken. 110% spoken. All right, well, here we go, my amigos. I'll play it for you a second time, and then we'll hear what you heard. Also, we need to take a look at our pop quiz. I see we've got tons of people participating.
Over the years, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. A lot of great years. Please write to him. Let's go to the graphic. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're going to check out our pop quiz. Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughn Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughn Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughntown. That's right, my amigos. That's right, Vaughntown, one of our star programs. I'm telling you, if you've ever thought about having an immersive experience, an experience that will live on forever in your memory, not just help you with your English, then you got to check out Vaughntown. Also, we have something called residentials, which is like Vaughntown, but hardcore. So it's like Vaughntown, but with classes where you have to do some presentations. Check it out. It's all on our website, grupovaughn.com. You can also follow us on social media and find out what's going on in the Vaughn world. All right, all right. Let's see what we've got going on over here for today's pop quiz. I see so many people figured it out. Great job. Wonderful job, amigos. All right, the first one. Ella va a hacer un fiestón para su cumple número 40. She's going to throw a bash for her 40th birthday. Vamos a pronunciar ese ordinal ya que estamos hoy con los ordinales. She's going to throw or to have, but not, we don't say make. Lo que no decimos es make. So, I always say throw porque soy americano, lo hacemos a lo bestia. So she's going to throw a bash for her 40th birthday. That sounds like fun. Am I invited? All right, cool. So to throw a bash is a really big party. Man, last night, they had a bash, a Christmas bash. So it's not a small party. It's a big party, you know? And a small party would be called a get-together. Think about it. A few people getting together. Well, it's not really a party. It's a get-together. A get-together? Algo. Una quedada, I think you would say. A little bit different than a getaway. A getaway is una escapada. Why? You get away for the weekend. Ooh. We're playing with the language. All right, so 40th birthday bash. My wife in February. Hey, maybe that's based on a true story? No. Hey, I didn't do it on purpose, but maybe subconsciously. All right, number 2. Siempre critica todo lo que hace su hermana. No, that's not based on a true story. My wife doesn't do that. In fact, her sister, well, they get along like a house on fire. It's like que quería enseñarnos es la expresión to get on like a house on fire. Llevarse genial. So this one is, she always bashes everything her sister does. She always bashes. Now, cuidado, ya cambia de 2 sílabas. So bash, bashes. She always bashes everything her sister does. Another way to say it is obviously she always criticizes. Pero esa es más difícil. Criticize. 3 sílabas. Bash. Bashes 2. She always bashes everything her sister does. Another way we can say this is to knock. Como. Right? To knock. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. So you could say, she always knocks everything her sister does. Y tenemos una expresión, quiero que la apuntéis aquí. Don't knock it till you tried it. Y esto es una expresión que no puedes criticar algo hasta que lo hayas probado. Don't knock, es frase hecha, ¿eh? We don't say don't criticize it till you tried it. Eso no es una frase en inglés. It's don't knock it till you tried it. And the word bash is a synonym for that. All right, and the last one. No consigo apretarlo. No consigo apretarlo. I can't manage to tighten it. So the adjective, otra vez jugando con palabras, Richard Brown, this is for you. Tight, apretado, el adjetivo. Oh man, Oh, I'll give you remember how I say personalized things? Me with the coffee maker. My wife says, oh my God, this coffee maker is closed really tight. You can't tighten it anymore. Tighten. That's me. Well, I don't want coffee spilling everywhere, so I tighten it. So when my wife tries to loosen it, aflojar. Hacemos lo mismo con un tornillo. It's a good one to know, guys. ¿Cuántas veces tenemos que hacer esto? You know, with the tops, the pickle jar, for example, los pepinillos or whatever. Or a screw. The perfect example is a screw. You tighten or you loosen. That's the verb. And tight and loose, con dos oes, those are the adjectives. Just be careful, because I've heard a lot of people say, Alberto, can you tight it? No. Can you tighten it? Can you loosen it? Right? So I can't tighten it. You can say I can't, or I wanted to look at no consigo. I can't manage to tighten it. Inténtalo tú. Have a bash at it. Or take a bash at it. Which means, inténtalo tú. Does it sound familiar? Stab. Just replace it with stab. I mean, bash, I don't use it as much in that context. Right? But you've heard it a million times with the word stab. Lo hacemos siempre. Oh, all right, let's see who's going to take a stab at it. We'll just replace the word stab with bash. So, excellent job. Wonderful job, show with no-namers around the world. Excellent job in our pop quiz, which is sponsored by Word Maps. And since you guys love playing with words so much, I think we're going to take a look at a section where we look at words and their intricacies. It's called Homophones on the Show with No Name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name, and we'll see how you guys do on today's homophones. But I gotta say, everybody's doing a wonderful job. And I gotta tell you something, if you guys don't want to get rusty, because we're gonna be gone for a couple weeks. As I said, Friday is our last show of 2023. And I don't want you to get rusty in that time. So just remember this. I will be releasing bonus FYI episodes. And I will be creating some content that I've already created, by the way. So I won't be producing, but stay tuned. If you're following me on social media, you'll have tons of content. If you're in my curious community, you'll have tons of content available at your fingertips. And again, the easiest way to make sure that you've got content every day and you never run out is by following all of us on social media. That's Kyle Miller, that's Dave Boys, I mean, all of us, and also by following Vaughn. And then this way you will be in the know. You'll know about our upcoming trivia, which I don't even know when our first one is in 2024. But you'll be the first to know if you're following us on social media. And if you download our app, then you can tune in anywhere and everywhere. I think it's the easiest way to make sure you never miss a beat or never miss any of your English classes. And if you can't tune in live, which again, I gotta say this, let's send a little shout out right now to all those listeners. who are here every day tirelessly. No se cansan. But you guys are not getting any protagonism because you're not here live in the, the live virtual classroom. But you know what? I know you're there, and I'm talking to everybody. When I say great job, when I say, guys, I want you to do this, I'm not just talking to the 20, usually around 20 people who follow the show live. I'm talking about the people who watch it later on. I'm talking about the people who download the podcast later on. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Doesn't matter how. Because if you were all here live, then the podcast would not be in the charts, right? The charts is las listas. So many, many people download this podcast, and I can't thank you enough for making it a popular podcast for the last 15 years that we've been doing this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, well, here we go with today's homophones, or not. You tell me. The first word is a letter of the alphabet. It is the letter Q in Spanish. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, T, U, V. Okay, look. Easy, I think. I think it's easy. La letra Q en inglés. Sé que lo sabéis escribir, es la misma letra. But how do you say it? All right. And the second word I want you to give me, and then I want you to tell me if they sound exactly the same, is the word cola. Pero no cola de un perro o de una persona. Cola donde esperas. Pero en inglés británico. Because in American English, it's a line, right? There was a long line. We were waiting for hours. But the British wouldn't say that there was a long line. We were waiting for hours. They would say another word. So my question is, does the British word for line, cola in Spanish, and not Coca-Cola, does that word sound like the letter before R in the alphabet? And if you know that, you can let us know over in the virtual classroom, or you can just jot it down on a piece of paper. But the important thing is to participate. Well, folks, we're going to a quick commercial break. We'll take a look at those homophones when we come back. We'll also take a look at our Say What soundbite, movies, famous birthdays. Name that lyric. Man, we have got a lot of stuff to do in the second half of today's show, my amigos. I hope you are enjoying yourselves, and I hope you're ready for some more in part 3 and 4. Hey, I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. All right, amigos, stick around. Nice job, amigos, and thanks for learning and laughing with us here every day on the show with no name. Newsflash. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this breaking news. Attention all show with no namers. As of January 2024, the Show with No Name live stream will be available exclusively to my patrons. If you'd like to continue to watch the show daily and participate in real time, join us at patreon.com/Alberto Alonso. And what is Patreon, you may ask? Well, as many of you know, I've been teaching for over 20 years. I've taught all kinds of people, from famous folks to young kids. And with a background in acting, I love communication. I have a radio show that's been on the air for 15 years and a very successful podcast called FYI. I've also written 5 books and have appeared on numerous TV and radio programs. But the thing I'm most proud of is this curious community on Patreon that we are creating every day together. And I really think you should join us. For as little as €3 a month, you can have access to Show with No Name live stream daily. Every week you can get a bonus episode of FYI. Also PDFs so you can follow the podcast. And the moment you sign up, you'll have access to an archive of over 1,000 posts. You'll also get early access to all my content. And a new feature, a chat, so you can have direct access to me and your fellow students. And most of all, you'll be a part of a curious community of people just like you, English explorers. Consider joining us on Patreon for as little as €3 a month, and you'll get access to so many English resources. And I highly recommend you sign up for a yearly membership. This way you make a commitment and you'll also save 10%. And don't take my word for it. Just ask some of my interstellar students.
I've already improved my pronunciation, and as a consequence, I've gained a lot of confidence in my speaking. Thanks to our weekly review class and our monthly masterclass, where, by the way, to top it off, we have a lot of fun. In a nutshell, if you are willing to better your English, and much more, in a fun way, you won't regret it if you join us.
Alberto is a passionate teacher, an excellent communicator, and what I think is key, he's able to put himself in the student's shoes. He's always willing to help. You'll have access to a wide range of topics every week, bonus content, vocabulary receipts, weekly review classes, monthly master classes, and so on. I think it's much more than just learning English. So go to Patreon, have a look around, and give it a try.
Because it has helped me keep my English in check and improve my language skills in the most fun way, because his podcast is really, really, really entertaining and fun, and so are the classes that we have afterwards to revise and go over the vocabulary and just discuss interesting topics. So if you're considering becoming a Patreon, don't hesitate, because that's a great way to improve your English.
We now return you back to your regularly scheduled program. So what are you waiting for? Learn and laugh with us in our curious community over on patreon.com/Alberto Alonso. See you there. Hey amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3 of today's show with no name on Born Radio. That's right, folks. This is part 3 of today's show. Hope you're having fun. Hope you're learning. Hope you're laughing. And hope you'll stay tuned, because my amiga Ximena Holiday is up next with her tour de force. How do you say that? Tour de force. It's a French word. Tour de force. Tour de force is D-D-E, by the way. Gran logro. Su actuación magistral. Ahí está. That's the one I'm looking for. Her tour de force, known as Test Your English, is up next. Then you've got the wacky, awesome, amazing Andy Vaughn and Rob Grams in the Lunchtime Show, where you'll get a bit of banter. Cha-cha-ra. With these two best buds, mejores colegas. And then you've got Ruby with Speak Up, one of our latest programs. You've got Frankly Speaking with Chris Frank. You've got Drive Time with Kyle Miller. The Probo Show with Rob Grams. And so many more programs. I didn't even have enough time to say all the amazing programs that you can find here on Vaughn Radio. All right, let's take a look. We're going to kick off with our homophones over here. I see we've got tons of amigos participating, which is awesome. And most of you agree. Most of you are saying that these words are homophones. All right, well, first, I'll tell you something about the second word. I can't spell it. No sé deletrearlo. I'm dead serious. I can't spell that second word if my life depended on it. And that's because in English, we say line. Now, se escribe Q-E-U-E. Q-E-U-E-U. Hey, hey, hey. I don't know that song, but I do know that song. Es una de esas canciones que sabes, pero no sabes que lo sabes. Hey, like my books. So let's start with the second word. We always start with the first word. The second word is Q, but it's spelled Q-E-U-E-U. That's a good way to remember it. Q-E-U-E. I got it now. Dios, acabo de decir que nunca lo voy a aprender, pero lo acabo de asociar. It's magical. I'll never forget how to spell it now. Q-E. Every time I've got to write that word, which I never do. I write line. But anytime I do now, I just got to think of Q-E-U-E-U. Because I know how to say it, obviously. All right, so Q. And what's the letter? Is the letter Q, Q exactly the same? Let's see. There was a musical que se llamaba Avenida Q. So I'm going to preguntar, voy a ser un británico preguntando si esto es la cola para Avenida Q. And this way you have them both in context. Pardon me, good sir. Is this the queue for Avenue Q? Is this the queue for Avenue Q? Absolutely. And we're going to get a bonus homophone today because there's a third word that sounds exactly like that as well. And that word is Q-C-U-E. O sea, Q-E-U-E, Thue, que es T-U-E, y la letra Q all sound like this. Q, Q. Now, a cue is a signal to an actor or a person. Oh, that's my cue. Eso es mi pie. Eso es mi entrada, right? And a lot of times we say, cue the smoke machine. Que entre el humo, right? Cue, C-U-E. It's something that's said in theater, but we also say it in production of anything. Okay, cue camera, no? Que lo tengamos es la pista. Darle entrada, dar pie a algo. It's also used in pool. No en una piscina, digo pool, billar. The pool cue is el taco, el palo. Okay, you can say a pool stick or a pool cue. So we had a triple homophone over there. Excellent job, amigos. I've got to give you today's Say What soundbite again. Is everybody ready? All right, we're going to wrestle right now.
Over the years, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. A lot of great years. Please write to him. Let's go to the graphic. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address.
All right, there you go, my amigos. There you go. There's your Say What soundbite. And I'm going to give it to you one more time. And this way, we've got all four of them. So hopefully somebody will be able to figure it out. Are you ready? this is the fourth listen of today's Say What soundbite.
Over the years, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. A lot of great years. Please write to him. Let's go to the graphic. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address.
Do you know about Vaughn groups? Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. They are group English classes that you can do via video conference or in person. And the good news is you can start whenever you want. And you can keep the same timetable, teacher, and classmates throughout the whole course. And the best part, there's no strings attached. Sin compromiso. And if you act now, you can get a 5% discount for paying up front. And if you stick with the course for 6 months, you'll get a 50% discount in June. Wow, what a deal! As if you needed more reasons to learn English with Vaughn. Check out our Vaughn groups. Have fun and make friends as you learn English. Sign now while there are still spots available. Call us 911-385831. Or you can go to our website, grupovaughn.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media and find out if Vaughn groups are for you. All right, that's right, amigos. That's right, you know it. It is our Vaughn groups. So many different deals going on right now. All you have to do is go to our website and peruse. Peruse es una forma súper formal de decir echar un vistazo. Take a look around. Peruse our website. Also follow us on social media. All right, folks, it's time to move on to today's Name That Movie. Name That Movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie only on the Show with No Name. And as always, this is the part of the show where we take a look at a flick. And, well, maybe you've seen the flick, maybe you haven't seen it. But either way, I guarantee you are going to learn some English from our movie. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you a little synopsis to get started, and then we'll see what you guys get from it. It's a pretty simple synopsis today. 4 interlocking tales. And interlocking is another way of saying interwoven. Interlazado, I believe you say. So interlocking, locking is they're locked, no? And woven, to weave is tejer. So both of those words make sense. Toma palabrones. 4 interlocking or interwoven tales that take place in a fading hotel on New Year's Eve. All right. So 4 interlocking tales that take place, que tienen lugar. We don't say they have place. We say they take place in a fading. And fading es que está perdiendo su color. Think about jeans. They're faded, ¿no? Perdiendo su lustre, losing its luster. De hecho, decimos lo mismo, ¿eh? Losing its luster. A fading hotel on New Year's Eve, que es Nochevieja. You call it Old Night. Me acuerdo la primera vez. ¿Qué haces para Nochevieja? I'm like, I don't know what that means. I remember thinking, Nochevieja. And then somebody said, sí, el último día del año. I'm like, New Year's Eve. Ah, Nochevieja. And then I learned Nochebuena, which is good night in English, which Nochebuena for us. Nochebuena is... Oh, no, Nochebuena. Oh, that's Nochebuena is Christmas Eve, right? If I'm not mistaken. La noche antes. Well, either way, if you want to learn all this vocabulary, you can listen to the FYI episodes on Christmas. And what better time to brush up on some Christmas vocabulary than at the holiday season? Remember, there are 2 episodes on Christmas because that was in our first or second season. So you have the bonus episodes of those as well. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, available to everybody, I mean, the general public, you guys have all the bonus episodes of season 1, 2, and possibly 3 of FYI. Again, you can find them wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want the bonus episode every week, well, then, of course, you have to consider joining our curious community. All right, let's see. The movie is called 4 Rooms. 4 habitaciones, 4 rooms. It came out in 1995, and Antonio Banderas is in the movie. You guys know Antonio Banderas, right? Eso es como nosotros lo pronunciamos. Also, Marissa Tomei, who we looked at the other day. Jennifer Beals. Do you guys know Jennifer Beals? What a feeling. Flashdance. She was in this as well. Madonna. Wow, that's when she was an actress. And, of course, the one I think you guys know the most, Antonio Banderas. And this is a movie that was directed by several directors, one of them being Quentin Tarantino. And Bruce Willis was in this movie, but he's not credited. Why? Well, he violated SAG rules. What are SAG rules? The Screen Actors Guild, la Asociación de Actores, no el sindicato. And he appeared for no money in the movie, and he's legally not allowed to do that, okay, according to his union. And he did it for fun, he said, and as a favor to QT, Quentin Tarantino. And so he said, all right, no problem. Just don't put me in the credits. No problem. Then I wasn't really there. So I don't know. I guess there was a loophole, una laguna jurídica o tecnicismo, a technicality, and he was able to be in the movie and not get paid at the same time. Also, the film was originally, I didn't know this. This is fascinating for you movie buffs such as Chris Valrol and myself. The film was originally going to be titled 5 Rooms. But you're thinking, wait a second, 4 directors? What do you mean 5 rooms? Well, originally Richard Linklater was going to contribute to one of the stories. So that would have been the 5th room. As I said, they're interwoven or interlocking stories. And again, you've got Robert Rodriguez, who is another excellent filmmaker. If you haven't seen it, it's a comedy classic. All right, let's take a look at the scene over here. Margaret says, "Hi, Ted. I'm Margaret. You sound down. Suenas que estuvieras de bajón." And she says, Is your New Year's not starting off well? ¿No está arrancando bien tu fin de año, no? Tu año nuevo, lo que es esa celebración. And Ted, the bellhop, you can say bellboy or bellhop, says, "No, Margaret, this New Year's Eve is not starting off well. No está arrancando bien. This one is going pretty fucking badly." Now, normally, if you work in the service industry, when somebody asks you how you're doing, you say, fine, right? You don't say, let me tell you, just imagine you're at Disney World and, you ask the guy who's pouring your soda, tu refresco, how's your day going? He's like, oh, fucking sucks, man. This place, I'm underpaid. I'm overworked. You don't want to hear it, really. I mean, you feel bad for the guy, but that's not really what your question was. And you can get in a lot of trouble with your company for bringing your personal business into your work. So this is exactly what's happening here. This New Year's Eve is not starting off well. This one's going pretty fucking badly. And Margaret says, how come? How come is por qué. It's another way of saying why. So Ted, the bellhop, says, well, Betty leaves me to run this entire hotel by myself. Me deja Betty para llevarlo entero yo. And first thing, right off the bat, en el primer momento, right off the bat, I get fucked by a coven of witches. And And then Margaret says, you got fucked by an oven of witches? So obviously there's a misunderstanding here. Excuse me. So then I just wanted to stop 1 second because it just occurred to me. The word bellhop makes sense. It's the person that hops, que pega un salto cuando le das al timbre. The bellhop. Totally makes sense. So he says, I get fucked, me joden. I don't think he meant in the way of, oh, that's fun. That feels great. By a coven of witches. He goes, you got fucked by an oven full of witches? And Ted says, a coven of witches, which I think you say alquinare or something like that. Alquitran. I don't know, something like that. Let's see. Let me look it up over here. Coven, aquelarre. That's the word, a coven. Now, just be careful. I'm glad we're looking at this because one of the words I always hear people mispronounce, todo el mundo lo sabe, pero nadie lo dice bien, es horno. How do you say it? Oven or oven? Oven. It's oven. Aunque es una A, no es una A. It's oven. And then he says, Margaret says, Ted, she was an old hag. An old hag es una vieja bruja, arpía, with a mole on her face, con una verruga en la cara, with hair growing out of it. Sounds like the typical description of a witch. And then she takes a hit from her bong. Cachimba, you say? Una calada is a hit. And Ted goes, no, she was very beautiful. Estaba guapísima. And Margaret coughs, tose, and says, Ted, what's the problem? And Ted says, well, admittedly, tengo que ser sincero, that was the best part of the evening. It was pretty bloody good, actually. But it's a pretty unnerving way to start off the night. Hey, speaking of coughing, I'm sneezing. I hope I'm not getting sick. Bueno, te enseño el phrasal verb. I hope I'm not coming down with something for the Christmas holiday. Oh, no, please, no. So unnerving. We'll finish off the movie with that. The word unnerving. De los nervios es inquietante. Unnerving. All right, well, folks, we've got to move on because it's time for famous birthday trivia. That's right, my egos. You know it. It is time for today's famous birthdays. Let's see if you guys know who's celebrating a birthday today. The first person was born in 1963, an American actress. She made her debut in My Bodyguard, not The Bodyguard, with Whitney Houston. Then she won a lot of critical acclaim for her performance as Alexandra Owens in Flashdance. First, when there's nothing. What if we just said her name. Were you paying attention? We'll know in a moment. She was also in Vampire's Kiss, The Last Days of Disco, Proof, The Book of Boba Fett, and so much more. Number 2. This guy was an American singer, songwriter, and producer, best known as the founder, main songwriter, and producer of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire. If you like that kind of vibe, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's funk, it's R&B, it's soul. You know their songs. Do you remember? September. Very famous song, September. Well, they've got, I'm sure if you listen to a playlist of Earth, Wind, and Fire, you'll probably know half the songs. And it mixes R&B, soul, funk, disco, even Latin stuff you'll hear in there. And last but not least, he was an American sports announcer, probably the most famous one in wrestling, in the United States. I remember watching him all the time. In fact, I loved how clearly he spoke and his diction, and I always looked up to him. Siempre le admiraba. All right, let's see. Today's famous birthdays are... Number 1, Jennifer Beals. Number 2, Maurice White from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And number 3, Mean Gene Okerlund, who was the most famous announcer in the World Wrestling Federation, which had to change its name to World Wrestling Entertainment now. Well, for me, it'll always be the WWF. F you, World Wildlife Federation. You stole my childhood. Well, I can't think of Hulk Hogan and all these wrestlers without thinking about this guy. He was the interviewer, and he just did great. And he was dealing with these animals. I mean, I know it's all scripted, but just imagine, he says, well, what are you going to do in the next match? I'm going to rip his heart out. I'm going to piss in his mouth. You know, and you're like, oh, okay. So he was awesome. He really played the role really well, and he ended up making friends with everybody. And that's today's Say What soundbite. This is Mean Gene Okerlund, and he's talking about when Hulk Hogan first got sick. He got sick. He eventually passed, but he got sick. And he says over the years, and you can tell he's very choked up. Está muy emocionado. And he says, over the years, I've developed a friendship with the Hulkster. The Hulkster was another way that we called the Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. Hey, Hulkamaniacs. So he was the Hulkster, and the people who followed him were the Hulkamaniacs. Me, for example. So he said, and he was being sincere here, I think. You know, he really got to know the person behind Hulk Hogan. And he goes, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. And I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. Me consideró amigo suyo. A lot of great years, muchos años, grandes años. Please write to him. And then he gets all choked up. You can hear it. He goes, por favor, escríbele. And then he says to the production crew, let's go to the graphic, el grafismo. No, vamos a la cartulina ahí. And a graphic comes up on the screen of Hulk Hogan's address, which is weird. They don't normally put famous people's addresses. You know, in English now, we've got a word for this called doxing, when you put somebody's personal information on the internet. So he says, let's go to the graphic. Cue the graphic, ¿no? Cortamos para usar la palabra de antes. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address. So let's hear the man, the one and only Mean Gene Okerlund.
Over the years, I developed a friendship with the Hulkster. I'm proud to say that he considered me a friend of his. A lot of great years. Please write to him. Let's go to the graphic. Please write to Hulk Hogan at this address.
All right, amigos, we are going to our third commercial break right now. I can't believe it. It's insane. Going to our third commercial break. We've only got 26 minutes left to rock and roll. And then after that, 3 shows, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're going to wrap up the year. And I think we can all say it, not me, all of us. We're going to go out with a bang. Vamos a salir por la puerta grande. Amigos, we'll be right back with tons more. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 4 of today's Show with No Name. As I said, we are in the final stretch. La recta final. The rest of the week, we'll be doing some Christmas carols. Eso es. Carol es nombre de mujer. But also, Christmas carols are villancicos, Christmas carols. So join us the rest of the week as we do some Christmas caroling with our amigos here. And I'm sure my friends Ximena and all of the other amazing people here on Vaughn Radio, I'm sure they've got some awesome stuff prepared for the holiday. Right now, I've got something prepared for you guys as well. My great friend, Richard Brown.
Word Maps. Tu mapa mental hacia el inglés. Bash.
Bash can be a deliciously modest little word. We come across it in the adjective bashful, meaning tímido, and its first cousin, the noun bashfulness, timidez. It is this nuance or matiz of modesty that we must bear in mind, que debemos tener en cuenta, when using the expression to have a bash at something. I'll have a bash at it is a bit like saying, I'll try or I'll do my best, but don't expect much. It's a great one to use when you know you're not very good at something. Like me when it comes to DIY, which stands for do it yourself, and is our equivalent to your bricolaje. Now, I am particularly bad at DIY, so whenever anyone asks me to do something around the house, I always say, I'll have a bash at it. For example, I'll have a bash at putting up the shelves, las baldas. And that way, no one has any great expectations. Should things go wrong, si las cosas salen mal, nobody can say I didn't warn them. So, if someone says to you, I'll have a bash at fixing your car, do yourself a favor and call in a professional. Bien, pasamos ahora al word map de la palabra bash. Bash. Pues primero empieza con una de esas Bs explosivas que tenemos en inglés. En inglés, incluso en inglés. No decimos bash, it's bash. Hay una verdadera explosión al principio de la palabra. Bash. Eso es, bash. A bash generally involves hitting people or things as a basic idea behind the word. As a noun, como sustantivo, the first meaning we're going to look at is the meaning castaña or porrazo. Yeah? You can give someone a bash on the head. I was in a fight and that guy gave me a bash on the head. Or I received a bash on the nose. Always with the preposition on there, yeah? To receive a bash on the nose. A synonym of the word bash here is the word blow. So yeah, sí, podemos decir lo mismo, expresar la misma idea usando la palabra blow. I gave him a blow on the head. Yeah, I was in a fight. Estaba en una pelea, and I gave him a blow on the head. And then he gave me a blow on the cheek. Yeah, I received a blow, a hefty blow. I received a hefty bash on the cheek. A hefty means a pretty powerful bash. I received a hefty bash on the cheek. Siempre con la preposición on aquí. Y lo curioso aquí es que, por una vez, no empleamos el adjetivo posesivo con las partes del cuerpo aquí. Usamos el artículo definido. Yeah, I received a bash on the head. I received a blow, a hefty blow. What a great adjective that is. I received a hefty blow on the chin. Yeah, you can say on my chin, but normally here we don't. We use the definite article. One occasion when we change the preposition from on to is in the following context. After a bash to the head, the man collapsed. Yeah, after a bash to the head, rather than after a bash on the head. You give someone a bash on the head, or you receive a bash on the head. But after a bash to the head, or as a result of a bash to the head, the man collapsed. Now, the word bash is not just used for these violent contexts. A bash can be a very, very positive thing, an exciting thing, a thing we all look forward to, and a thing we all enjoy. Because bash can also mean a party. It's kind of an informal party. Yeah, so I'm organising a bash. I'm organising a bash for Brian's birthday. It's a surprise bash. It's a surprise birthday bash, right? Or we're having a bash. We're having a bash this weekend. Yeah, estamos organizando una fiesta este fin de semana. We're having a bash. O si quieres restarle un poco de importancia al evento, podemos usar también la expresión a bit of a. I'm having a bit of a bash. No es nada serio, nada formal. Yeah? I'm having a bit of a bash this Friday evening. Come along. Do you fancy coming? ¿Te apetece venir? Yeah? Do you fancy coming? That's very British there. Yeah? Or do you feel like coming? Would you like to come? If you want to express the same thing in all English-speaking countries. Fancy is very British, right? Do you fancy coming? ¿Te apetece venir? Yeah, because we're having a bit of a bash. Fantastic. I'd love to come to your bash. Is it a birthday bash? Well, actually, yes, it is. It's a birthday bash. It's a surprise birthday bash for Sandra. Yeah, it's a birthday bash for her 50th birthday. It's a 50th birthday bash. It's a surprise 50th birthday bash, if you like. So we can use all of these elements separately or together. Yeah, we're having a surprise 50th birthday bash for Sheila. Right. Okay, another use of the word bash as a noun. Otro significado de la palabra bash como sustantivo, pues ya lo adelanté al principio, en la introducción a esta palabra. A bash puede significar un intento, con el matiz de, bueno, lo voy a intentar, pero no te esperes grandes cosas. I'm not really 100% confident that I'm going to be able to do this well. Yeah? So the verb we use with bash here is to have. To have a bash. And then the preposition at. Yeah, I'll have a bash at it, but don't expect much. Right? I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash. Now, I'll have a bash at the shelves. Yeah, because I've got some shelves to put up. I'm not very good at putting up shelves. Yeah, montar una estantería, estantes, baldas en la pared, por ejemplo. Yeah, shelves. See, I'm not very good. I'm not very good at putting up shelves. No se me da bien. I'm not very good at putting up shelves, but I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash at the shelves, if you like. Or if you want to continue with a verb, si quieres continuar con otro verbo, pues ese verbo ha de expresarse en la forma del gerundio. Eso es, que acaba en ing. So, I'll have a bash at putting up the shelves. Why do we express this other verb in the gerund? Well, we always express verbs in the gerund after a preposition. In this case, the preposition at. Siempre expresamos los verbos que siguen a una preposición en la forma del gerundio, es decir, que acaba en ing. Igual que en la expresión I'm not very good at. I'm not very good at doing something. No se me da bien. Ahí doing se expresa también en gerundio. ¿Por qué? Porque viene después, justo después de la preposición at. Y lo mismo ocurre con la expresión to have a bash at doing something. I'm not very good at putting up shelves, but I'll have a bash at putting them up. I'll have a bash at. Yeah, I'll have a bash at. 4 words there. I'll have a bash at. Well, 6 if you count the subject and the auxiliary verb will. Of course, contracted here. I'll have a bash at it. 6 words that we pronounce in one continuous flow. I'll have a bash at it. Shh, sí, ese sonido que producimos, que emitimos cuando mandamos callar a alguien. Yeah? Bash. I'll have a bash at it. Shut it. I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash at putting up the shelves. Will you have a bash at putting up the shelves? Yeah, of course I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash at putting up the shelves. And then, if you like, I'll have a bash at putting that chair together. To put together is como montar un mueble, right? So I'll have a bash at putting together that chair. I'll have a bash at it. Don't expect much. We don't need to say don't expect much because it's kind of implicit in the expression to have a bash at something. Let's look at some examples here on the word map. I'll have a bash. Yeah, I'll have a bash. I'll have a go. I'll try. I'll have a bash. Yeah, do you want to put up the shelves? Yeah, I'll have a bash. If you go to a fun fair, do you want to try shooting the little ducks? Yeah, I'll have a bash. I'll try. Don't expect much because I'm not very good at firing a gun or aiming a gun. But I'll have a bash. I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash at it. Claro. Cuando lo lees, I'll have a bash at it. But, como dije antes, solemos fusionar las palabras. Eso es. I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash at it. With a verb now. I'll have a bash at fixing the car. I'll have a bash. I'll have a bash at fixing the car. I haven't really got a clue about car engines, but I'll have a bash at it. I'll have a bash. I'll have a bash at fixing the car. So, bash can also mean un intento, but it can also mean something a little bit more negative. Again, coming back to the idea of a blow, un golpe, un porrazo. En este caso, una paliza. Aquí, pues, cambiamos un poco la palabra. De bash, llegamos a bashing. Yeah? To give someone a bashing. The youths, los jóvenes, the youths gave the old man a bashing. Los jóvenes le dieron una paliza al señor mayor, al anciano. They gave him a bashing. You see it sometimes in films. You hear aggressive characters threatening another character. I'll give you a bashing. Or we gave them a right bashing. Yeah, les dimos una paliza. Una buena paliza. We gave them a right bashing. Now, my mum used to give me a bashing. No, my mum, don't get me wrong. My mum never used to hit me, but she gave me a different type of bashing. My mum used to give me an ear bashing. Well, she would give me an ear bashing from time to time. This is a figurative use of the word bashing. Okay, an ear bashing. An ear bashing is when you give someone an ear bashing, you tell them off. Es una forma de decir reñirle a alguien. Yes, she gave me an ear bashing. She gave me a right ear bashing. Right here Just as before in the example, the youths gave the man a right bashing, means una buena paliza, was right here has a similar use. Yeah, my mum gave me an ear bashing. What did she give you an ear bashing for? Well, she gave me an ear bashing because I arrived home an hour later than I said I would. So she gave me a bashing. She gave me an ear bashing. She gave me a right ear bashing. I'm sure all of your mothers at some point and fathers have given you an ear bashing of sorts. Yeah, they've told you off. Yeah, when they get cross, when you've done something wrong and they want to tell you you've done something wrong, they give you an ear bashing. It usually involves raising your voice. Okay, let's move on now to some expressions. Well, one expression we have here actually with the word bash. This is an expression we use in particular when talking about how our suitcases fare in transit when we put them in the hold, en la sota, en la bodega, perdón, of a plane. Yeah. For example, my suitcases got bashed about. Esa es la expresión, to get bashed about. Quiere decir que una maleta, sobre todo una maleta, sufre varios golpes durante el viaje en la bodega. Yeah, my suitcases got bashed about in the hold. Hold, remember, means la bodega. That's happened to me a few times. On several occasions, my suitcases, mis maletas, my suitcases, my cases, my baggage, my luggage has got bashed about, either in the hold or with the ground staff when they're handling the luggage. Yeah, they often throw one suitcase on top of the other. And of course, these suitcases get bashed about. Yeah, we're using the participle here of the verb to bash. It's bashed. And of course, we slide it in to the particle about to get bashed about. Bashed about. Bashed about. No bashed. It's bashed. To get bashed about. My suitcases got bashed about in the hold. Okay, let's move on now to how we use the word bash as a verb. Now, the verb bash is 100% regular, so of course, both the past tense and the participle end in ed. But we don't say bashed, we say bashed. Sí, la ed se pronuncia como si fuese una T de las nuestras, es decir, una T bastante marcada que logramos pues dándole al paladar, arriba en la boca, con la lengua. Bashed. So, the first meaning of the verb to bash that we're going to look at is when it means golpear. Yeah, he bashed his fists on the table. He was very angry. He bashed his fists on the table. We can also bash ourselves. Yeah, we use it as a reflexive verb as well. Yeah. Oh, have you bashed yourself? You know, when a small boy or girl falls over and they bang their head or they bash their head, se dan un golpe en la cabeza. Well, we use the verb bash here. Have you bashed yourself? ¿Te has dado un golpe? Yeah? Are you okay? Have you bashed yourself? Yeah, I bashed my head, mummy. Yeah, me di un golpe en la cabeza. I bashed my head. I bashed myself. Where? Where did you bash yourself? I bashed myself on my forehead, in la frente. Right? Now that's when we do it to ourselves. You can bash your head. You can bash your head when you walk on some scaffolding in un andamio. If you're tall and you don't see the scaffolding and you walk into it, you bash your head. You bash your head on the scaffolding. But of course, we can also use this to refer to hitting someone. You can bash someone. Puedes darle un golpe a alguien. Puedes golpear a alguien. You can bash them y volvemos aquí a usar la preposición on. Igual que antes que vimos, to give someone a bash on the head, pues aquí lo mismo, to bash someone on the head. Y una vez más aquí, como excepción, usamos el artículo definido con la parte del cuerpo en cuestión. Yeah? To bash someone on the head. To bash someone on the nose. To bash someone on the arm. So, you can bash someone on the head with something. Let's see. He bashed me on the head with a truncheon. Now, a truncheon is the stick, the stick that policemen use to defend themselves. Yeah, they use a truncheon. The policeman bashed the man on the head with a truncheon. In gangster crime, sometimes one gangster might bash a gangster from a rival gang on the head with a baseball bat. Or they might bash them on the nose. Yeah, he bashed him on the nose with a baseball bat, con un bate de béisbol. He bashed him on the nose, and then he bashed him on the arm. And the man fell down. But that man picked himself up and bashed the other man on the back of his legs with another baseball bat. So we bash someone with something. We bash someone on a particular part of their body with whatever weapon we're using. Good. Another meaning of the word bash as a verb is, this we use in particular when talking about minor scrapes. Minor scrapes, so minor accidents we have at the wheel, al volante, because we can bash our car. Here, the word bash means abollar. Sí, quiere decir abollar. I bashed my car whilst reversing. Yeah, I bashed my car whilst, mientras daba marcha atrás. I bashed my car. No bashed, remember? It's bashed. I bashed my car while reversing. Sí, dando marcha atrás. And then I pulled forward, and then I bashed another car whilst reversing again. So I bashed another car. Le di a otro coche. Sí, un golpecito. I bashed my car whilst maneuvering. Yeah, you can say whilst I was maneuvering, but normally we just go straight in with the gerund, whilst maneuvering, mientras maniobraba. What did you do? You bashed your car. Yeah, I bashed my car. How did you bash your car? Well, I bashed my car whilst reversing. What part of the car did you bash? Well, I bashed the rear bumper. Yeah, the rear bumper. The bumper is el parachoques. The rear bumper is el parachoques trasero. Yeah, the bumper behind the car, at the back of the car. So, or did you bash the front bumper? No, I bashed the back bumper. I bashed the rear bumper. Now, we can also bash, not just when we're maneuvering, we can bash a car when we're driving. Yeah. In fact, we can bash into something. Yeah, I was driving along and I bashed into the car in front. Le di al coche que estaba delante de mí. Al coche delante. I bashed into the car. I bashed into the car in front. Or you might be driving along and suddenly you lose control and you bash into a wall. Sí, te das contra una pared. I bashed into a wall. Or you can bash into a tree. Yeah, we bash into and not against. We don't translate contra literally. We're driving along, we bashed into a tree. Oh my goodness. Okay, now to bash can also be used metaphorically, and here it takes the meaning, cobra el significado de vapulear, right? So you can bash somebody's speech. Oh, his speech was a load of rubbish. I'm bashing his speech. Critics, los críticos, they love bashing actors' performances. The critic bashed the main actor's performance. Yeah, so he criticized it highly. He bashed the performance of the leading actor. What else can we bash? Well, we can also bash a door. We bash a door in. This is what the police do when they're carrying out a raid. Cuando tienen que forzar la puerta de una vivienda, por ejemplo, they have to bash the door in. Yeah, they usually have a special battering ram to bash the door in. So the police bashed the door in and entered, fully armed, and arrested the man.